Hi guys, welcome to the FF Salon at Money 2020. My name is Emily Redding.
Hey, I'm Frank Hock.
Thank you, Frank. Welcome to the FF Salon. It's lovely to have you here. We've also got our wonderful Jose, who has been transforming heads across Money 2020 today. He's just going to do a little bit of a tidy up for you, a little bit of a trim while we have a chat. That's okay?
Cool, yeah.
Great. All right,
Enjoy.
So Frank, let's get started. Why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself, what do you do? Let's start with your job title. That's a good one.
Okay. Yeah, I'm managing director of Lunadis, which is basically the regulated financial entity of DKV Group, a leading fuel card provider within Europe.
Fantastic. Okay, that's quite a strong intro, isn't it? And how long have you been in this industry? How long have you been doing what you've been doing?
I'm with DKV Lunadis now for 3 years.
3 years.
But I'm in the banking industry, I'm for 30 years now.
Fantastic. So you're a real expert.
Yeah.
You understand this world very well.
I think so.
Good. Okay, this conversation will be really interesting then. Why don't you tell me a little bit about how did you get into this? How did you get to the kind of the leadership and the senior position that you have today?
Basically, I was introduced to Lunadis from my previous self-employed position because I was advising companies and Lunadis was looking for the future strategy, how to position itself within the, let's say, regulated industry, because regulated industry is new for DKV Group. So basically I started as an advisor, developed a strategy for the company, and then was asked by the owners whether I would like to take over the job of a managing director at this company and implement the strategy I developed.
Gosh, so I mean you came in, they liked what you did and they thought we need to keep Frank around, he needs to stay.
Yeah.
And so they got you to stay.
Yeah, correct.
That is brilliant.
That's the story.
What did you do prior to that? So what was your self-employed freelance capacity? What did you do?
When I was self-employed, I basically advised companies in restructuring situations.
Okay.
And I was also partner in private equity and venture capital funds, primarily investing in, let's say, traditional industries, car industries, machinery industry, but also in fintechs and venture capital.
Goodness, so I mean you've really seen, if you're working in that kind of sector within this industry, you've really been at the forefront of all of the change that so many people have seen. And as a result of that, what's it been like? Have you enjoyed it?
I enjoyed it very much because I think, as you could imagine, I started in the private equity industry around about 2010, 2011. And I think this industry underwent a tremendous change. You know, at this time, I think interest rates were low. I think people were looking for alternative investments. They were willing to pay high prices. And I think even in the venture capital industry, it wasn't difficult to collect money from investors because all the people were believing in this industry. And I think so this was quite challenging because if you overpay, that's really a difference. And then over the time, you know, I think all these problems came up that people found out, okay, we have paid too high prices. We have to restructure the companies. The companies are not performing like we anticipated. And that basically led to a lot of restructuring situations which then came up.
Yeah. And do you find now, your role now as managing director, it must be so much more broad. It must be looking across every different area of your business. How have you found that change? Do you enjoy that?
I think if you are really doing the operational business, it's quite different, as you said. But I really enjoyed much not only developing concepts, but also being responsible for implementing concepts. And I think since what we are doing at Lunadis is quite new for DKV Group, I think this is really a challenge. First of all, finding the right way, what is the correct concept, what is the right idea, and then later on to say, hey, how do we implement it? Do we implement it in the right way? Do we really do all the things in the way that we are successful? It's a different challenge, yeah?
It is. Well, speaking of challenges, what are the biggest ones that you guys as an organisation are facing at the moment? What's the thing that you've got your eye on the most?
I think the most challenging part is that our industry gets more and more regulated.
Yes.
Which basically means, as you know, after all these fraud situations we had overall Europe, I think Wirecard, Greensill Bank in Germany as the most popular examples, I think the regulators becoming more and more strict. And I think we are also experiencing currently the review of the Payment Service Directive 2 with the EEC Commission. And I think nobody knows how this, let's say, will at the end, how it will affect our business. And that's also the reason why we are now positioning ourselves that we can also comply with these regulatory requirements if they would come up in the future.
And what would you say to anybody that's looking to get into this industry, or that would maybe one day love to have a role or a leadership position that you have? What's that one piece of advice you would give them?
I think, first of all, you have to be willing to take challenges of the unknown, because as you know, you can't control the regulator, which means you have to have some, let's say, risk willingness, but on the other hand, you have to be careful that you really anticipate in which way the regulator will develop, what is the effect of your business, especially that you have to take into consideration within Europe. You have the European regulators, but you also have the national regulatory authorities. And I think these two, they are not always, let's say, harmonized, which basically means that you face very different challenges. You face the challenges of the European development, and then you face the challenge, how do the national regulators deal with these requirements? Yeah, that's the, so you have to be, let's say, to some extent, be willing to take risk, but you also have to be careful, because as you know, these people, they really are looking at what you are doing.
Yes, and maybe not really knowing what the end goal is, and that's okay.
Yeah, but you can influence it. I think if you keep a close contact to the regulators, if you keep a close contact to the institutions within Europe, I think you must be on top of the development. You must be aware where the development could go, and then talk to the right persons at the right time in order to make sure that let's say, at least the knowledge which is in the industry is, let's say, conveyed to those people who are making these future decisions. That's the key aspect, I would say.
I agree, it's great advice. Frank, what's the best thing about your job, and what's the worst thing about your job?
The best thing about my job is that basically it's, although we are part of a big group making around about 16 trillion euros turnover all over Europe, basically we have the freedom to develop like a startup, which basically means we are entering a new market for our group, which is this market of, let's say, regulated credit card payment cards. And that's the challenge, having a strong shareholder while at the same time being able to develop a new product or to develop new products.
That's very exciting. And the worst thing?
There is no worst thing in my job, because my principle has always been, I want to have fun. And I think therefore I would never accept a job where I don't have fun. So there is no worst thing.
Okay, I mean, you were very, very smart to begin with, Frank, but I think you're looking even smarter now.
Okay.
I think we're almost ready for the reveal. Last question to round it off. What are you looking forward to the most over the next 12 months? What's your team looking forward to? What are you looking forward to?
Successful implementation of the Lunadis corporate credit card as a new product. Generating a substantial customer base, and also developing this product further, which means that today we are coming with a product which is not only a payment card, it also has some additional features like expense management and that refund, which is quite unusual for our market, but we want to add to this product additional features so that we create, let's say, a unique experience for the customer, and let's say give the customer the opportunity to have a service available which really adds value to him.
That's so a small list then for the next year? Not a lot, just a little bit.
And then I think we want to enter into new market. We are currently starting in Germany, which is our home market. And then we want to go to other European markets, and that's the biggest challenge here.
Okay. Oh, well, best of luck. And thank you so much for joining me today.
For the time.
We're just going to blow off some of the extra hair, just so you're not walking around with it for the rest of the day. And then we'll swivel you around and do the big reveal. That was great.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you much.
We'll turn you round.
Show you.
Oh, so much
cool.
different.
Yeah, excellent. Perfect.
Right, thank you so much for joining us today.
Even much better than before.